Reiff. Welcome to Inside OC. How much does it cost to wash a motorcycle? Well, in Newport Beach, about $6,000 a year. That's what the city pays its cops to keep their bikes clean. Are taxpayers getting hosed? To consider this panel, we'll debate that topic and more. And two register columnists aren't pulling any punches. In fact, they've been training to throw punches at each other. Why do David Whiting and Frank Mickadeit want to hurt each other? But first, our series of reports on coaches, slush funds, and kickbacks has prompted a policy change for all Orange County school districts. And now the superintendent of a Capistrano Unified School District has come forward to say they were victims of a slush fund scam by a sports apparel and equipment company. David Nazar, what's the story?
Rick, Capo Unified has concluded its internal investigation, and Superintendent Joseph Farley is finally speaking out. Dr. Farley says over the course of the slush scam, some of his district employees were involved. Now, he won't say how many, but Farley does say that their internal investigation revealed that the employees did embezzle school funds. Of course, this all stems from financial records first provided to us by Irvine couple Therese and Jeff Sando back in April that show Capo was just one of many school districts throughout Southern California that had coaches involved with LAPE's athletic team sales. For 3 years, Therese and Jeff Sando claimed they had records proving coaches across Southern California used slush accounts to make purchases their districts did not know about. In some cases, the coaches even pocketed money that was supposed to be used for things like team uniforms and equipment. In 2008, the Sandos took over the now-defunct LAPE's athletic team sales in Laguna Hills from owner Bill Lapes as it was going under. As they were closing the books on the shuttered business, the Sandos discovered thousands of invoices and checks from secret slush funds. Coaches at Capo Unified had the biggest slush accounts of all the districts in Southern California.
When you have a sophisticated arrangement that involves an internal employee and an external company working collaboratively to embezzle, it would be extremely difficult to identify that.
You mentioned embezzlement. Looking at the big picture, how much money did your district lose over the years because of this scam?
I can't say definitively how much we've lost over the years. The allegations go back to 1992, but I would say generally hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxpayer money.
Correct.
Have you ever seen anything like this in all of your years in education?
No, frankly, I haven't.
Capo is the first district to confirm the slush funds existed. Farley wants his district to be proactive, and he says he wants law enforcement to take the necessary action. The OC Sheriff's Department is investigating.
Like all school districts, we take it very, very seriously. Jobs are in jeopardy, and in some cases even arrests may be appropriate.
The Sandos say Capo Unified listened to everything they had to say. The Sandos say other districts did not take the accusation seriously, and that is until we aired our first story on PBS SoCal. Now, districts throughout Southern California have launched investigations into the relationship some of their coaches had with LAPE's athletics. Donna Pinsack says she saw our reports and now has a responsibility to the districts and to the taxpayers to also speak out. Donna was the office manager for 6 years at LAPE's athletic team sales.
There's a large amount of money out there that coaches have access to with no oversight or accountability. And it's taxpayers' money, and that concerns me.
And you saw this firsthand at LAPE's athletic team sales?
I did.
Did you ever try to speak to Bill Lapes or anyone else at the company to say, hey, this is wrong?
No.
Why didn't you speak out?
I didn't feel it was my place, and I also felt that it was perhaps prevalent in the industry. I suspect that if a few are doing it, possibly many are doing it. I felt like if the slush fund situation came to light, it would have had the potential to change the way school districts do business with sporting good companies.
That change is on its way. Orange County School Superintendent Bill Habermill has distributed this letter to all school districts across the county. It contains a warning that Habermill wants the superintendents to include on all future purchase orders. The new language says in part that school districts prohibit suppliers from providing or promising to provide incentives, favors, and rebates to school employees for their personal benefit. Discounts must be negotiated by an assistant superintendent or someone they designate, and if a supplier is caught providing or promising to provide unauthorized gifts to a district employee, the district will immediately end all current and future orders with the company and will contact law enforcement. And School Superintendent Habermill says he expects the policy change will be adopted at the beginning of August. And Rick, Habermill is also proposing the new requirement be implemented statewide.
Well, David, Capistrano's superintendent says employees were involved. I assume he's talking about coaches. Are there going to be lawsuits, civil action, criminal action?
Well, I just spoke with the Sheriff's Department, and the department says between 2 months to a few months, it will complete its investigation, have its findings. Of course, it will then be forwarded to the District Attorney's Office, who will decide what it wants to do with the case. But going back to the internal investigation by Capo originally told me it had spent somewhere between 75 and 100 grand on its own investigation. They changed the number to about $55,000. They are saying that their school district insurance is paying for that cost. But you mentioned the Sheriff's Department. Had the Sheriff's Department possibly done its job a couple of years ago, the district wouldn't have to spend any of this money for a former FBI agent and a forensics expert to do that internal investigation. That's what they are wondering.
Where's the DA here? I mean, our DA can be very active sometimes, you know. He had no problem going after Toyota. In this one, I don't see him anywhere.
Originally, the DA, or I believe earlier this year, had this case, rejected it, I believe citing the fact that at the time it was a civil case between the Sandos and then-owner Bill Lapes. Of course, over the course of our stories, things have completely changed with this investigation.
I get the feeling people don't want to go after coaches, and I guess I can understand that. But, that one employee made the comment that if a few are doing it, many are doing it. Is this really prevalent throughout the industry, that this is the way athletic equipment suppliers operate?
I can only speak to the facts of what I have and the countless emails and phone calls from coaches and sports reps and sporting good companies. I'm told this is somewhat of an industry standard. This is a climate and an undercurrent they operate under. I'm also told industry-wide it's somewhat a shady and dirty business. This is what people are telling me. This is not what I'm saying. However, the ironic thing is no coach, no rep, no sporting goods company will even speak with us. Everyone is running from the story. So in that respect, kudos to Joe Farley and Bill Habermill for speaking out, and to Donna Pinsack, who said it's her responsibility to finally say something.
Yeah. Well, David, the silence from some parties is deafening, but thankfully you're still working on it, so good work. And now, joining me for this edition of Consider This, political consultant and Democrat Melahat Rafiei, and political pollster and Republican Adam Probolsky. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yes, and Adam, in Newport Beach, we've got the land of the $200,000 a year lifeguard. We now find out there's this hidden perk for the motorcycle cops. If you're a motorcycle cop, you get like a 5 or 6% pay boost because you have to clean your bike. And that works out to almost $6,000 a year on average. That sounds, I mean, you have your kid clean it every month for $10 and pocket the rest.
I don't know, you go to Beacon Bay, it might cost you $500-600 for the year. It's only about a 90% premium. It might be a good deal. You get skilled labor, taking care of these bikes.
So, but is there a method to this madness?
I've heard some things. Melahat might have some unique insight into this, that it may have.
That's probably the nicest thing you say about Melahat.
A technicality that may make a rationale for it, but really there's no excuse for that sort of thing at all.
Is there an excuse for this sort of thing?
If as unique you mean I have the truth on my side, then absolutely, Adam, you're right. Okay. Well, when I got the link from you, I thought I should look into this a little bit. And any association, organization, the sheriffs, the CHP, any police department that has motorcycle police officers get hazard pay because the job is so dangerous. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was an officer in El Segundo.
Is the bike going to fall on you while you're cleaning it?
No, please let me get through this. Okay. El Segundo police officer on a bike was killed recently, and it's dangerous. Helicopter police officers get paid more too. In Newport Beach, instead of calling it hazard pay 6 years ago when the police association negotiated with the city, they called it maintenance pay. pay. Why? To save the taxpayers money. If it was hazard pay, it would be PERSable. If it was maintenance pay, it's not PERSable.
So they're doing the taxpayers a favor.
They're doing a taxpayer a huge favor. It gets even better. So it's not PERSable until the PERS board audited, and it's only PERSable if the police officer retires while on the bike, which rarely happens because they get cycled out every 5 years. So this money is not taxable. Does not go into the retirement. And bicycles and motorcycles are much more cost-effective ways for police to get around. It's much cheaper than the cars. It's cheaper with the gas, and it is also tactically advantageous for the police, even with hazard pay, whether it's called hazard pay or maintenance pay or police officer pay. It is still more cost-effective for taxpayers to do this. The information in that article was completely just done out of salacious reporting. It was inaccurate.
This either does one of two things. At best, it points out the lunacy of public employee benefits and pensions.
Why is it lunacy to give people who take a hazardous job benefits for that? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, at worst, this may be insurance fraud or pension fraud because they're designating work inappropriately.
What they are doing at the end of the day is here's the problem with you guys. This is one. Here's the problem with you guys. You guys hate government. You don't want anyone to ever get paid for doing any sort of government work. But when you dial 911, you want to make sure that those cops are there. On clean bikes, whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the first question I had when I saw your article was, holy crap, why in the world are the police officers forced to clean their own bikes? When I did research and I called the police department, I called the POA, I spoke to the chief of police, and I found out that the numbers that were reported in that article were completely wrong. It is this disgusting reporting.
Melahat, it wasn't actually my article. It was the Orange County Register, our buddy Brian Colliers' article. Kudos to Brian for a good job.
I cannot believe Brian wrote that. It was just wrong information.
That argument about them saving our lives, we stipulate that, but at some point, that's the argument for everything. That's for the exorbitant benefits.
You stipulate it as long as they're not getting paid more than the next person. And that's none of this was under attack. 6 years ago, when the Newport Beach Police Officers Association negotiated with the city to save taxpayers money, that was before all of your attacks on public employees and their pensions. So they did it in good faith. They did it to make sure the taxpayers were not paying more than they needed to.
They did it to get around a state PERS law.
No, to benefit the city and the taxpayers.
Well, listen, Melahat, while we're attacking public employees, let's forget the employees and go after the public officials, okay? And Adam, let's go to you again. And the Register, the OC watchdog, Terry Sforza, continuing to do God's work by, going through grand jury reports and everything else. And the grand jury just looked at the salaries and benefits of water districts. Now, most people probably don't even know that there are all these water districts. And lo and behold, Irvine, they make almost $40,000 a year, the water board officials, just for sitting on a water board. And the council members in Irvine, again, top the list at $50,000 when you count salaries and benefits. And everybody else is pretty high, too. Is this more just hidden pay?
Well, first of all, it's actually impressive because the grand jury gets it wrong more times than not. So this time they actually developed a report that had some facts in it. The fact is that water districts are enterprise agencies. Their job is to make enough money to not only pay for the water that people need, but also to pay for the infrastructure, the critical infrastructure.
You're sounding like Melahat now.
Well, no, I'm suggesting that this is real serious business, and it's not like at City Hall where if you had to, you could shut down City Hall and just have cops on the street and firefighters out ready to go when people call them. Enterprise agencies like water districts have to operate all the time. They've got to have water coming to your house.
So the board members, the part-time board members, have to make $40,000 bucks a year?
No, but here's the way I look at it. In corporate America, we've had serious debacles where you have $100 million, billion-dollar corporations that had boards of directors that were asleep at the switch and really screwed the pooch, so to speak. So you look at that in the public agency sector, and you want these people to be engaged, active, and if it's a couple $1,000s a month to keep them engaged and active and interested, then I think it's a small price to pay.
Two things. First of all, here you are always talking about how you want to run the government like the businesses. Well, when you sit on a corporate board, you get compensated for your time. Number two, if we are only going to get people elected who can afford to not have to have their time compensated, we are basically taking out a huge chunk chunk of the population who's not independently wealthy? Do we really want people who are elected to these boards and these city councils to only be people who can afford to spend their time without getting compensated in any way whatsoever to be governing us?
Well,
Is that
allow
really
me
fair?
to take the other position then. Whatever happened to public service? The idea that you spend a year, maybe if people weren't so interested in being career politicians, what's wrong with taking a couple of years of your time and devoting it to public service?
And they are, and the compensation is low. First of all, most of the people that are on
It's low. These folks are part-time jobs, are making $30,000, $40,000 a year.
So $40,000 a year, that means $80,000 a year full-time is a lot of money in Orange County. And also, most of these folks are registered Republicans. As much as we tried when I was part of the party
you're defending
to get
them.
No, I'm not. I'm defending the fact that public servants should get compensated for their time. It is not a lot of money to ask people to sacrifice their time for the public.
This system still gives us the citizen legislator, someone who gets a stipend of a few $100s per meeting and has the security of having health insurance. That's essentially what those numbers equate to. And you still get the person who's engaged in public policy, but still has the ability to have their own business.
Well, I'm glad the two of you agree on something, even though you're both wrong. Okay. A newsroom battle for real. That's next.
This is what we were. This is where we've been. This is who we are.
The hope still lives, and the dream shall never die.
This is our experience, the American experience.
I always thought the most masculine thing about the next two guests was their prose. But now they've decided to get really macho in the boxing ring. Joining me, Orange County Register columnist Dukin David Whiting and Frank Kid Mickadeit, and they're joined by ring girl DWI. Welcome all. Frank, I've never seen you looking so good, I'll tell you. Now, what possessed you guys to do this? Why are you actually getting in a ring to beat up on each other?
That's right. Earlier in my career, I tried to do something fun every summer, and this year I was talking to one of my friends. She's asked me, "What are you gonna do this summer?" And I said, "I don't know. Find me something." And she found me a boxing fantasy camp kind of thing, and then I thought, well, it'll only be better if we fight.
Yeah, and you've never boxed before?
Never.
Okay, so first time he's ever boxing, and the guy he picks on is you. Now, why did he choose you, David?
You know, he says he's never boxed before. Frank's a pretty smart guy, so we'll have to figure that out. There is a little I read online that he was a Golden Gloves at one point, so we'll have to see about that. Why he chose me? I think it's because of my age. I'm so old, he figured he had a chance to win.
All right, now, you know, you picked the guy who's in shape. I mean, you're an Iron Man. You do Iron Man stuff, and Frank, you smoke cigars. I mean,
yeah, exactly, exactly. So Dave's obviously sandbagging here. I've never fought Golden Gloves or any kind of. I fought Garden Gloves. You know, it was about the biggest. And I picked David simply because he is the best athlete I know. He's an endurance athlete. He does triathlons. He's done them recently. He's climbed.
So are you crazy? Are you crazy picking on David?
Well, it's kind of a.
Does he have a glass jaw? Do you know he's got a glass jaw or something? What's that?
It's win-win for me, you know. I mean, nobody expects me to beat him, and if I do, I do okay.
All right, now, Dee, what's your role here besides looking lovely?
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm the ring girl.
Yes.
I get to carry the little numbers around between rounds.
Girl is a loose term.
It is. We realize it's a loose term, but there's nothing about everything's surreal about this this event you guys are doing. Sorry,
Except for the competition. It's real.
What's your prediction? Are you going to knock them out 1 round, 2 rounds?
My prediction is all about DWI. I mean, that's why I went into this fight. Frank said, I got a date. That we're going to be going out afterwards, and that's really the real reason why I'm doing this. Whatever happens in the ring happens. You know, Frank he's got a little bit of weight on his side. He's got definitely that youth thing going.
A little bit of weight. Are you calling him fat?
I am not calling him fat. He's lost weight. He's sturdy. He's solid. He's the kind of guy who I think it's energy equals MC squared, right? So we're talking about some real power there. I'm not going to call the fight, nope, but I will say it'll end in 3 rounds.
Okay, yeah, because you're fighting 3 rounds. So now, Frank, what's your prediction?
Draw.
A draw? Really? That's low expectations.
I'm going to put this man down. I'm going to put this man down. I'm going to send him to the back page. Right. I'm going to.
I think
this pretty face is not going to get hit.
I think we'll both be in there.
This pretty face is going to come out even better.
You guys have actually been working out. You've been sparring. Now, have you taken a hit? Have you taken a hit?
Oh yeah.
Have you been knocked down?
Oh, you mean that kind of hit?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just have you been hit in the face with a glove?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, how does that feel?
The first time it happened, sounds came out of me that I didn't know I could make.
Did you see stars?
I didn't see stars, thank you, Dee. But I didn't see stars. But sounds came out of me.
So does the trainer say that you can take a punch, or you know?
I could, you know, he's punching at about 30% of his capacity, I think.
Okay. All right. And David, how about you? Have you taken I know you wrote about that.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Your first reaction is, even though you know you're going into the fight, your reaction is, wait a minute, he hit me, and then you're thinking, when's he going to apologize? But there's no apology. There's just another hit. Then you think, I'm going home. But you stay in there, and yeah, you learn to take it. I've gotten a few skid marks on my nose.
In the Register newsroom, what's the betting? Are people taking? Is there a pool going on as to who's going to win this thing?
They want me to kill Whiting, but the smart money's not on me killing Whiting. It's on him beating me. But you know. That's okay. That's okay. I've always been the underdog.
He has kind of set you up as the bad guy here. He's champion of the people. You're the newsroom dictator.
He's wearing black.
Here's the idea. The idea is it's always go with the challenger. Frank's the challenger. Go with the challenger. If I was a betting person, that's where I'd bet. They always have something a little bit.
You obviously you're the ring girl. You know this stuff. Who's going to win?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell because they've both been training a lot, and I've been watching them just beat the crap out of each other. So it should be very interesting.
We've not even seen each other in the gym. I should clarify. We've not even been in the gym.
But you are dating. You and Dee are going out after the fight. According to David, I mean, that's okay.
That's not the topic of this conversation.
Who benefits from this? Give the when, where, and all that.
Okay. 3 charities benefit. Mine, the Friends of Dorothy, which is a guild of the AIDS Services Foundation of Orange County. Also Walking Tall, which is the gym's own South Coast Martial Arts and Boxing, their own charity. And then I'll let David talk about his charity.
Just quickly, we just have time.
Challenged Athletes Foundation helps raise funds for prosthetics for wounded warriors as well as anybody who's lost a limb.
Wednesday night, July 20th, go to bvontv.com. You can't get tickets at the door. You have to go online and donate to one of our 3 charities.
Okay, well, this is great, and I think seeing the 2 you guys bash each other in is going to be priceless.
That's what most people say.
Okay. You can watch this show and past shows by going to pbssocal.org and clicking on Inside OC. My guests have been Melahat Rafiei, Adam Probolsky, Duke and David Whiting, Frank the Kid Mickadeit, and the lovely DWI. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again Inside OC.
Inside OC is brought to you by the following. Five Point Communities is a proud sponsor of PBS SoCal. 5 Point Communities is an independent real estate development company with assets under management across California. More information available at www.fivepointcommunities.com. Snell & Wilmer is a full-service business law firm with more than 400 attorneys in Orange County, Los Angeles, and throughout the West. On the web at swlaw.com. Snell & Wilmer. Straight talk, sound counsel. Practical solutions.